this is not gonna be over in a week or something like that. This is absolute game changer. That's the product number one. Second would be lighters and matches. Theoretically, people like us were ridiculed everywhere, like doomsday sayers and, preppers. Alright, so it seems like that the Third World War finally started. We have seen a major escalation. I probably don't have to tell you because it is literally everywhere since the COVID and Ukraine. There has been nothing of this sort, so I see this as very pivotal moment, and I would like to share with you my thoughts on what I'm gonna do next to prepare myself for these crazy times. And because this is clearly just the beginning, this is not gonna be over in a week or something like that. This is absolute game changer, and why you need to be getting to action and moving rather quickly, because there is a lot of things to discuss. A lot of areas in our day-to-day life will probably change dramatically, most likely for the worse. What can be good out of all of this is that people will finally start to realize that they're on their own, that their governments are a bunch of crooks and they cannot rely on them in any shape or form. So the first thing that I want to touch on is something called prepping. It has been very ridiculed in the mainstream media. If you're a prepper, you're something like this conspiracy theorists and things like that, which the right word is actually conspiracy researchers, because all of these theses and ideas are coming to fruition and are no weird madman fantasies. Who has eyes to see and ears to hear already knows that the whole show is like one puppet master running the whole thing, and it's actually very hard to even know who he is or she or a group. It's kind of like with the creator of Bitcoin, the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto and blah blah blah. Turns out that it was at least partially funded by Epstein, so follow the money and so on. But without getting into this rabbit hole, what was clear to me in recent years, how theoretically people like us were ridiculed everywhere, like doomsday sayers and, preppers. They will actually tell you one day that the reason that there is no gas in the petrol station is because you're hoarding it in your plastic bottles somewhere in a base camp. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, obviously. Prepping is the only way how you can get at least a little bit independent from whatever the government is actually actively creating. Like, preppers don't start wars that destroy the transit roads and all sorts of production facilities. They do the exact opposite. When shit really hits the fan, preppers are the ones that provide for the community. So what are the things that I'll be interested in hoarding, actually? So if you watched my channel, you probably know that I have spent reasonable amount of time already living without water and electricity in the Balkan mountains. So my day-to-day life could be described as a preparation for what a lot of people will be going through in the next months and years. Our standards of life will just go down. It's not gonna be getting any better. Like, we were promised health beds and like sarcophags and space travel and all these things. And we're gonna most likely get back into some kind of between wars world where you'll be happy if you see a dentist. What are the things that were the most helpful to me in my off-grid bunker in Serbia? Well, since it's by setting without electricity, number one product you need to get is headlamps. I'm probably gonna visit Decathlon, famous European sport superstore, and they're really good for these kind of things, camping related products, and they have all sorts of different headlamps. Some of them you can charge with USB, so theoretically they can be charged by a little camping solar panel. So, that's very important to also be able to recharge it, or you just buy like bunch of them that are one use only. And honestly, I must say that even though they were one use headlamps only, um, it was lasting very long. Like I could say, one headlamp would last me maybe 2 months, and imagine that I'm probably using it like hour or two a day. So that's really good investment. Any other light you need to hold in your hand, and so headlamp is really, really practical. It basically gives you a superpower. You can see at night. So that's for me absolute no-brainer. Headlamps. Without it, you're not gonna last much, or it's just gonna be very inconvenient. You need to cross unknown terrain at night. Yeah, well, you better have a headlamp, right? So that's the product number one. Second would be lighters and matches, because without light you can't even purify water. I mean, without fire, you know, you will freeze, you can't cook. If you boil even very bad water, I guess it's still much better than trying to filter it somehow and things like that. So lighters can literally become bartering items. If you have plenty of them, other people that were not thinking strategically will be exchanging food to have lighters. Anytime there was major event to be expected, like I guess when the Mayan calendar ended, I become well, I was still freshly adult, I guess, at the time, so I didn't have much money to even like prepare myself somehow. But I guess I bought like good hiking shoes, some outdoor gear, some knives, and things of that sort. I'm slowly but surely building my repertoire of these sort of products that will be then useful in the scenario that is now almost a certainty. Like theoretically, we still have years to come when there is still some food in the supermarkets, and it's just gonna be like one random item missing, no toilet paper, and things like that. So, yeah, invest in a bidet, for example. I hardly ever buy toilet paper, honestly, or I can absolutely live without it. It's useless product, and its bartering value is near zero, honestly. It's much better to buy like cosmetics and pharmaceutics, which would be my number three category. There are, expire dates and things like that. That's why I still put the lighter above everything. Even the headlamp is probably less important than a lighter. So it is the lighters or matches, headlamps, And then, of course, pharmaceutical, pharmaceutics and cosmetics, because women will need to look nice and take care of themselves even in the most crazy scenarios that you can imagine. So do think about them. If you're a man, you can profit massively out of having these things in your basement. So just buying some cheap soaps, shampoos, razors, things of that sort increases your bartering ability massively. And then, of course, you can stockpile food, but I probably mentioned it before in one of my videos that, in a way, stockpiling food is nice, but only to a certain degree. You can't really stockpile food for years to come. It's much better that you invest into living a life where you have some sort of production capability. A little chicken barn in your garden goes a long way in these situations, I guess. So, myself included, I need to definitely think about my food production capabilities this year or near term future and do something about it. And then, something which might be luxury for some but necessity for others is securing a crib in a different jurisdiction. If we are entering the era of wars, that means that any man between certain age is potentially a soldier. So if you don't want to be sent to the front lines like the first one, then you better have second residencies, cribs in different countries. And as of now, I haven't found any better deal than Serbia and Bulgaria. So if you want to find out more, check out the link in the description. I have some houses for sale that come with residency attached. If that interests you as a plan B option, make sure to check it out. And with that, I'm going to hot springs. Take care, get ready, because weird times are coming.